Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to start off by giving all honor and glory, even in praise and worship to our power, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH. Double honors to our apostle, elder bishops, great millstone, well. Peace citation to the hopeful elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the large multitude of men, women, and children. That YAHWAH will have mercy on these perilous times, perilous meaning dangerous times that we're currently living in. It's your brother HAQADASH, representing him as branch here in Cleveland. Lord willing to bring out an edifying lesson through the spirit and power of YAHWAH. And the title is inspired by the elder Awaram out of the Alabama GMS Alabama camp. All right, just skillfully adding to a comment he said on one of his lessons, which was a beautiful lesson. If I could remember, I could try to put it in the description box. I don't never remember Salaki, but Lord willing I do. Go like and subscribe to his page, Mysteries of the Kingdom. All right, and the title is Marking of Something Monumental. The marking of something monumental. All right, because what you're witnessing is history. You're witnessing history in the making, which people like to break down the word history to his story. And ultimately, we say Esau's, when sometimes when you pretend to eat, but really, it's the Lord's story. It's his story. All right, and that's what we witness, and we're witnessing the Most High's movie, his story, his tale. Okay, and this is what he wants to talk about, and this is what he chooses to discuss, and how he want to discuss it. Okay, and in the process of that, you're witnessing these things in real time. Okay, you're witnessing these things in real time. Okay, Esau's fall and Jacob's rise, right, which is the marking of something monumental. And I had typed in, let's see, when you go to Adam online, and you type in monumental, it says it don't really have a lot in it in the adjective. It says pertaining to a monument, vast, comparable to a monument, an extended sense of historically prominent. Okay, historically prominent. Now, let me see, it says it's related to, because some of the other words that's related to this is massive, statuary, statue, ark, constitution, commonwealth, right? The scriptures talk about the commonwealth of Israel, law. Okay, so what you're witnessing is the establishment, all right, of the kingdom of heaven, all right, here on earth. That's what you're witnessing. Okay, and it's a great thing to witness, because it's never going to happen again like this. You're never going to see the Lord break us down and build us back up. We're already being broken down now, and we're getting ready to be built up soon. I mean, that's not soon, but that's what we're currently, you're seeing is us being built up. Okay. And when you think about an actual statue or a monument, once that monument is set up, why would I have to tear my monument down? Why would I tear my statue down it's going to be set up, and it's going to be set up for the duration of the time frame I set it for. And in our case, the blessing, it comes with immortality. You know what I'm saying? So these different terms and analogies and terminologies, all right, are linked to monumental. It says that dictionary. It says monumental, huge, great, enormous, gigantic, massive, colossal, mammoth, immense, tremendous, mighty, stupendous, vast, prodigious, Herculean. You see? Herculean. Right? Like Hercules. Titanic, massive. Like it's saying, these are synonyms or words that are congruent, are in agreement with the word monumental. All right, according to its definition here off the Adam Online. Okay, it says, so yeah, so what you're witnessing is something huge, massive, colossal. Right? That's what you're witnessing here on the earth. Okay? That's what you're witnessing. Okay? That great millstone. We're attached to YAHAWASHI, that millstone that's getting ready to grind this earth. When I say earth, I mean this rulership, the Esau is eating rulership into powder. Okay? Woo! One of the words here for monument is immortal. Immortal. So what you're witnessing is, like I said, through the spirit, you're witnessing something being set up that's immortal, historic. All right? All right? It's going to be set. Israel's rise is going to be remembered forever. Esau's downfall is going to be remembered forever. You see, this monument that's being attached and set up, it's an immortal. It has an immortal attachment to it, and it's being set up as something to remember forever. Okay, so that's beautiful. So when you go to a chat, I'll type in one of the words it says historically prominent. So when you type in chat, historically prominent means notably important, influential, or well known in history. So what you're getting ready, what you're witnessing right now, not what you're getting ready to witness, but what you're currently witnessing here in Babylon the Great and across the four corners of the earth is something notably important. All right, it's not a small thing. The Israelite awakening. All right, that's not a light thing. That's not a small thing. Okay, it's not a small thing. Esau, losing his position of power. That's not a light thing. Okay, it's not a light thing that YAHAWASHI is coming to the earth. Okay, after 2,000 years, that's not a light thing. The wisdom has been restored. These are not light things. These are huge things. These are grand things. These are mega. All right. All the words that I read, these are those things. You know. And according to YAHAWASHI, all right, these are the promises that he said he would do. All right, once particular things have met their timelines and deadlines here on the earth, which means it's the fulfilling of prophecy in turn. And that's why this is not a light thing, because prophecy is the top thing. A prophet is the top being on the earth. He's above the king. He's above everybody. All right? And the prophet is the Lord's man. Okay? And the prophet is a prophet because what? He holds prophecies. He foretells prophecies. He even breaks down prophecies. Okay? And prophecies are what? Things that are pro means before, facade means to speak or to say. And the prophet beholds things that are happening beforehand. All right, a prophet beholds things that are happening, that are going to happen beforehand. You understand? So what you're literally witnessing here on the earth, okay, is the marking of something monumental. The restoration of Israel is the marking of something monumental, because it's going to segue itself into the kingdom of heaven. All right, here on earth, wisdom bringeth forth a kingdom. All right, and the wisdom that we possess is preserving us, so that the kingdom of heaven can manifest itself into the physical realm. All right, through the physical beings here currently, which are the prophets and the men of the Lord. All right, and those believers. You understand? Everything has to deal with a circuit. All right, everything has to deal with a circuit, and everything has to deal with the flow of currency. All right, which is in this case the Holy Spirit, and the things that pertains to the heavens, where YAHAWASHI dwells and orchestrate this whole structure and this whole essence of life. All right, this is where they sit, and that same structure and essence of life is being manifested and displayed through the men that has this set up here on the earth, which are those holy men of ancient of old. And that's not a light thing, and they're being set up as a monument. When you go to here, let me go here. Revelations. Bear with me. When you deal with the Church of Philadelphia, Revelations 3 and there's Revelations 3 and 10. No, let's start at 11. Is this the right street? I hope it's the right street. No, it's not. Revelations 3 and 11. It says, "Behold, I come quickly," right? "Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown," right? Because the truth is our crown, it's our diadem, right? With that holy hat, if you will, all right, that sits on our head. All right, that's what the wisdom is for us. It's that holy essence, all right, that completes our drip. Right? The garment, all right, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith. Right? These are the different things that make us us, and the wisdom dresses us. Okay, the wisdom dresses us. Okay. I can't remember what house it is. I think it's this house right here. Salakia. Yeah, this wisdom dresses us, man. Okay, it dresses us, and it you know, and it completes our setup that did them, man. Or that crown, or this wisdom. It said, "Let no man take thy crown." Okay. This truth, him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out. Right? Because in the history of this church, or in the city, they would have earthquakes, and and the people were aware of the earthquakes, and they would have to leave out of the city so that they won't be consumed by the earthquake. So Yahawashi is making reference to this is talking to the Church of Philadelphia here in Revelation 3. They would leave out because they will, so they could be safe from the earthquake. And it says, him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power. Right? What is a pillar? Let's type in, what is a pillar? On chat, it says a pillar is a tall vertical structure that supports something such as a roof or a building. It can also be used figuratively to mean a person, institution, or idea that provides essential support. You see that? There you go. It says, so if you see a pillar of society, it means something or someone considered fundamental to keeping society strong or functioning. So what's going on is you're witnessing something literally monumental. The elect are set up as that monument, all right? The house of David, right? Or the house of Dawadah, the Bayat, Shaw, Dawadah, right? Bayat, house, Shaw of Dawadah, David, okay? The house of David being set up right before your eyes. This is the monument of something this is the monument that's being set up. That memorial that will never be forgotten. The house of YAHWASHI, which is what? The house of David. Okay? The capital of the world. Okay? And it's going to sit right in Jerusalem. So the Lord is, he said, him that overcometh what? The temptations. The dark period that's getting ready to happen on the earth. The vile affections of these Babylonians. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out. We're not gonna have to leave, keep going in and out. All right, when it's a shaking it, because why? There's not gonna be no more shaking it when the law is established here on the earth for the Israelites, man. We're gonna be that one monument that stands forever, and it's gonna be never tainted, never fade away in history. It's gonna stay golden and marvelous and marble, however whatever the Lord decides those pillars as a physical example be, however our drip be in that time. The pillars are the elect, and they're gonna be set up with, decked out with gold and precious ornaments, and they're never gonna fade away, just like Esau kingdom fades away. We're not, like Esau kingdom, we're not gonna fade away. And I will write upon him the name of my power, right? We're gonna have a new reputation, right? Known as the sons of God, because right now we're not known as the sons of God. All right, we're gonna have a new image, all right, a new aura, okay? And I will write upon him the name of my power and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from Yahweh. That's Revelation, the 21st chapter. The bride adorned for her husband. All right, the city that cometh out of the chariots. All right, that's where it's going to be coming from. Where they going to be coming from. And I will write upon him my new name. Right? We're going to have a new reputation. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. You see? So, right. So we got the elect is being set up as something monumental. All right. That pillar, and it said what? It said a pillar is a tall vertical structure that supports something such as a roof or a building. And I went into this before. How significant is a pillar to the foundation? A pillar can be very significant to a foundation, but they serve different purposes, of course. Foundation, the base of a building that transfers its weight safely into the ground. That's Yahawashi. He's the sure foundation. The pillar / column, a vertical support that carries weight from the structure above down toward the foundation. There you go. Right? So that's the joint, being the joint heirs. When you think about the structure, you got the foundation and you have the pillars that sits on the foundation, and that distribute the rest of the weight of the rest of the building. And in our case, the foundation is Yahawashi, the pillars are the elect, those prophets, those elect members, right? Those men, the 144,000. And the rest of the house, that the weight that they're holding up is what? The rest of Israel. You see? The rest of the house of Israel. Okay? If a pillar is structural, it can be essential to the building stability. Right? That's why the Lord will never do away with his people, his prophets. They're preserved with that wisdom. And we know that the wisdom cannot be done away with because it's immortal. Right? How do we know this? Because Yah means he, Hawa means be or exist. Yahawah is immortal. Righteousness, he says Yahweh is righteousness or righteous. It says God, or in the Bible it says Yahweh is righteous, and then in Wisdom Solid 1:15 says righteousness is immortal. So the Lord is righteous, meaning he's immortal. He's omnipotent, as the scriptures say, meaning all knowing, all being. He is, he exists. He always was and always will be. He exists before time itself. He is time. There's no such thing as time with the Lord. Time with the Lord, I should say, is when things are fulfilled. He said this is going to happen at this particular time. That's time. Not 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You know, so the Lord, he defies the laws of gravity and the laws of physics. He created physics. He created the law of gravity. He created breath. He created the universe. He created Yahawashi. Okay? Before the earth was, he is. Okay? Before any planet in the universe existed, before any constellation or anything, it was him. Okay? So what you're witnessing, I just want to skillfully add to the elder, Lord willing, you know, it's edifying. You know, because again, like I said, a pillar is important because it's, let me see, is a pillar like a monument? Which we know they're going to be literal, but again, of course, a pillar is not the same as a monument because nothing sits on top of a monument, but it's similar spiritually. Let me see what they say. Spiritual connections. If you mean spiritual connection in context of a pillar or monument, it can refer. No. Let me see. What are the spiritual connections between pillar and monument? There can be a strong symbolic / spiritual connection between pillars and monuments, especially in religious tradition. They aren't inherently spiritual, but both have often been used to present ideas that go beyond their physical function. Strength, stability, pillars, connection between heaven and earth, right? A pillar, a connection between heaven and earth. Its vertical form can represent reaching upward toward the divine, guidance or spiritual authority, a central support or foundation for a community, right? The 144,000 is the government of the heavens. You see? Endurance, something that remains standing through generations. Beautiful. Right? When you always use the examples, when you look up, when you look up, when you look up when you look up a old picture of a Roman a structure of a building, it's always going to show the foundation and the pillar that remains after it got tore down, right? Let me see if I can find one. Old Roman building. So you can see. I'm gonna just use something like this. All right, so like when you look at this, these are columns or pillars, and then you see the foundation underneath it. So this used to be a building or attached to a building. All right. And you got some that wasn't, but whether that one was or not, just for the sake of time, you have those individuals that be attached to buildings, and the building be gone, but the pillars and the foundation still stand. So it says something that remains standing through generations. That's what a monument is, right? Because that's for the definition of, that's one spiritual connection between for a pillar, endurance, right? And like the Lord said, also another point with the Church of Philadelphia, when the Lord said, "I will write upon," it says, "I will make a pillar him that overcometh." You see, over him that overcometh, right? Endurance. All right. Will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my power. Because remember, one of the words we read or information we read when it came to monumental was notably important, right? Historic, because one of the words was historically prominent, and then it means notably important, influential, or well known in history. So in the Church of Philadelphia, on those pillars, they uh they um uh um they will write the individual names, all right, in that city, who had influence, who were influential, who were of importance, and they would write their names on those pillars. So that's what the Lord was making reference to that church. He said, look, spiritually, look, when you overcome, the tests and all these different things, because remember Revelation 3 and 10 was one of the verses above, talking about the hour of temptation. When you overcome the great testing of the world to try you, to separate you from the, see if you with me or not, then I will write your name on this pillar, or the book of life. I will write your name on the essence. The people, when they see your name, they're gonna know you're connected to the essence of the Lord, which is that first fruit, the ones who receive salvation, the elect of YAHWASHI, the governing body of the kingdom of YAHWASHI, right? Joint heirs of YAHWASHI, all right, and so forth. They're gonna see how important you really were. When you walk past a monument and you see this name up there, everybody's name is not on there that was in the office or a part of that congregation. It's certain men names that are up there that have significant importance, and this is how the Lord see his men. All right, something that remains standing through generations. So the men of the Lord are names because they're connected with Yahawashi, his bride, just like our bride is to us. Their names is going to be etched in history forever. So you're literally witnessing the marking of something monumental. You're witnessing the kingdom of heaven being set up right before your eyes, and the downfall of Esau Edom, because Esau Edom's demise is also going to be written in history. All right, we'll tell you that in Revelation's 18th chapter. All right, and Isaiah the 13th chapter, about how this place is going to be a desert. All right, and her smoke shall go up forever and ever, and it's going to be a monument of what not to be. Okay, so you're also going to have another monument known as America, Babylon the Great, as a desert, a prominent example of what not to be and what sin gets you. It gets you etched out of history forever, pursuant to the Edomite, aka Mr. Whitey McWhite. All right. So they're going to be monumental set up. All right. Not just for us, but according to the wicked of what not to be, and what the righteous according and what to be. You see, monuments, remembrance, reserving the memory of people or events. You see that? The marking of something monumental. Everybody's gonna remember when we woke up, how they spit on us and ridiculed us and mocked us, right? Just like they did Yahawashi, and they like, yo, this is the Son of Man, right? And they're gonna remember these things in the kingdom. The Lord's gonna allow these thoughts to be there, right? Right now we don't have thoughts of the former time, but soon come all these thoughts. That's why I talk about the shame. All right, you're gonna have Israelites in shame in the kingdom. So how much the heathen, their thoughts are gonna be there. They're gonna remember what they did to us. They're gonna remember us, whether you got whatever happened in your school, classroom, work, growing up. They bullied you, mocked you, hung you, beat you, whatever you went through with the heathen, particularly Esau, Edom. Everybody's gonna remember these things, man. It says preserving the memory of people or events. This is a monument. This is a part of monumental. Honor and reverence, showing respect for something considered important or sacred. YAHWASHI, his message is sacred. All right, so this message is going to is being set up, all right, as the marking of something monumental in history. Continuity, connecting the present with ancestors in the past. Come on, man. Collective identity, representing the beliefs, history, or values of a community. Where they connect, when a pillar is used as a monument, its symbolism can become especially powerful. Foundation, pillar, monument, memory / meaning. The foundation represents what something is built upon. The pillar represents what supports and carries it forward. The monument represents what is preserved and remembered. In a spiritual interpretation, you might describe a pillar monument as a bridge between the past, present, and something greater than ourselves. So this is the marking of something monumental, because it's brought the past and the present together, and it's bringing the future. It's bringing the past, present, and the future together. Okay, that's what the word has done. It has allowed us to remember our past. He said, remember ourselves, right? In our land of our captivity, we should remember ourselves. We remember who we were. We remember who YAHWASHI is, first and foremost. Remember who we were. Remember who the enemy is. Enemies are. All right, and now, you know, and the Spirit allows us to break the precepts down and the prophecies down the past, all right, of the ancients and prophets of old, which we are those men, Lord willing, and we believe that. And it has allowed us to understand what's coming in the future. Our rise, Jacob's rise, and Esau's demise. Read this. I'll close with this. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, the I is Ezra, Esdras, as is an apocrypha, and he's talking to an angel, Archangel Uriel. What shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham and to Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Ezra asks, thou not. So again, something monumental is bridging the gap, and the pillar and the monument is bridging the gap between the past, present, and the future. That Jacob hand held Esau's hand. Jacob hand held Esau's heel in the past, and it was symbolic for how things were going to play out in the future. Jacob was going to be responsible for pulling down the strongholds in Esau's kingdom himself, right, by the restoration of the memory, which is the wisdom that preserved us through each generation, each captivity. We were preserved. All right, the Lord preserved our language. He preserved our heritage. All right, and most importantly, he preserved the wisdom. All right, and he read it in different formats in different dialects, all right, and even in this tongue that we speak now, and it was preserved in its true pure essence, to the point that when any version that the elect read, they were going to come to their senses when that time was fitting for their spirit, and then they were going to remember themselves, and that was going to break the spell off of their minds, all right, the enchantments off of their minds that Esau, the great wizard, had put on them, all right, all right. The chains have been broken, and they've been restored, and they stood upon their feet, and a great shaking happening, bone to bone, right? And then they when they saw these things, they were afraid, like the scriptures say. You see? Because why? They understand that they have now approached or reached their end, all right, and we're the only ones that can bridge the gaps of history. We can only, about the spirit of power of Yahawah Shai, we the only, like Yahweh Shai, bridge the gap. We the only ones that can take the past, link it with the present, and link it with the future. That is something literally, physically, with your own eyes, you're witnessing the marking of something monumental. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'd like to give all honor and glory from the praise and worship to our power. Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM HAQADASH. Double honors to our apostle, the Bishop Great Millstone, we will. Peace citation to the hopeful leg. Till next time, a Bible ball, my ball. Shalom.